In the verbal messages which I record in this Iranian channel for the doctors and the government, I explained the insight in what we see and what the Chinese have posted. And Dr. Parviz, through his insight, translated it into English for the channel, and somehow it got out into public, which was not supposed to do. But for that reason, then Dr. Azhar and others posted it everywhere. By the time we found out, it was too late. This should have not come out into public. But now it's in public as the what we call leading scientists in this field. We see our responsibility to explain, not to create panic, but as a society we understand. As we explained, the coronavirus has, for the first time, due to stupidity, absolute utter stupidity of Gates, has brought a change which we have no control over. And we will see, we will bring this into understanding that you all understand what is happening. The process of the energy transfer in Corona has a future extension. This future extension will touch many of us. Let me give you a background to this that you understand. You see the actual picture of the Chinese doctor before Corona, and you see their present picture. They've been in isolation and have been under observation for 3 months. As I said in many teachings, Corona will bring cancers in less than few weeks and will kill. Multiple cancers across that we have no answer to. We said in the track records of the Keshe Foundation, we will see heart attack of a young without track. And we've seen it coming up as of few days. It's been announced by World Health Authorities. Everything we've seen past 2-3 weeks, we announced it in January and February. But this has to be understood by man. These pictures are significant. Let me tell you what. The Chinese doctors has put it away. Wuhan doctors who were critically ill with coronavirus woke up to find that their skin has turned dark after virus damaged their liver. There is no such a thing. There is no damage to the liver. I will release the verbal recording to the group that you understand from the Iranian, and the translation of it done by Dr. Parviz will be released with it. Let me explain what I have explained to the Iranian officials and doctors, which you might have read by translations and got something different ideas when people like Dr. Azhar have posted it everywhere. What we've seen with the corona is that is an energy pack. Exactly what we said. And when you are in an energy pack, the way we have shown in 2008, 2009, if you go back on some of the teachings and the documents are on the internet, when we did the agricultural testing, when we took corn and wheat from what we call Wareham Agricultural Center in Belgium, controlled seeds, and was given to leading Belgian scientists to grow them under natural condition using GAN saturation. We saw that we usually, the wheat gives one stem and a flower. We saw in certain position, when we extended the saturation into 1 day soaking of the special seeds, when the seeds were grown, we saw 6, 7, 8 stems. The conclusion, and in the report we made at that time, was that the seed has reverted back to its origin where it was grass. And it was growing like a grass. There are many pictures of it. There's a Belgian scientist in the background who did this because we provided all the facilities and the growing boxes and everything for it. And it's documented it. It's somewhere in the archive. We explain large, long-term exposure to ganses can lead to the reversal of genetic effect. And we use this, and if you go into agricultural teaching, we said, even in past few weeks, that we have said goodbye to Monsanto. Monsanto genetic modification was reversed, and we can go back to origin. Even in the agricultural test in Mongolia, we received the confirmation that there is no genetic change, which means any change was done by modification was overridden. This brings us to these two pictures. As they say, they were critically ill and woke up. What you see is genetic modification. What this means, as I explained in the teaching to the Iranians, can you read? I'm going to take this over and then you can put this over on my screen. What we see is that what has happened is the long exposure of the body to coronavirus, which has found access to DNA in energy level through its operation connection of its RNA, has managed to bring genetic modification. In a way, what it means is, what is done is this, as I explained in the Farsi translation to the committee there. As we know, we came this way. Our ancestors started somewhere here to travel through Strait of Hormuz in the Persian Sea, Caspian Sea, reversed back through the cold and divided themselves, because some of those who were further up entered North America. Some of this tribe went this way into China, and they met in Mongolia, the two races, and some came through the southern Mediterranean, and the Aryan blood, what they call it, moved into Germany and the rest. Every time we took a step, we genetically modified. We genetically modified to fit into the atmospheric and geographic condition of the environment. We became white and we became Chinese. And the further we went according to the structure of the geophysics of this planet, we became different races. But in essence, for the first time, with these two pictures and a long-term exposure, exactly what happened to the wheat in Belgium in 2007, 8, 9. This exposure has written up millions years of evolution. Thousands of years. Where we came from was uncertain. This was all theory. Now, with these two doctors and many more which will come who have been exposed to coronavirus, man will go back to his original color. Any modification has been written off. Because each modification is like an onion. It piles on top. And now, due to long exposure, all have been taken away. So now for the first time, actually second time, including the Iranian lady in Europe, we have seen the return to the original. Genetic modification of thousands of years has been written up. It's not just the color of the skin. Could you put the picture back up, please, Rick? What you will see, it is, and in so many ways, will bring to confirmation that post-corona will be horrendous for some, but it will be confirmation to many. If you look, the features have changed to the African features. As you see, the doctors, everything is back to the origin where they came from. We are going through a genetic reversal. These two guys will most probably not die. And we'll see many Chinese turning black. And many of Europeans who survived the corona long-term in hospitals, most probably over time will turn black in their beds in New York, in Washington, in London and Germany. The power of corona reversal is so much that even if those who exposed for a long time might go back to the essence of their souls without the dimension of physicality. As the DNA in the strength of its force will return to RNA, and RNA is the soul of the man, is the single without physicality. Our knowledge seekers, keep as many pictures as yourself and your friends, that soon you might find out you might go back to your origin. We all go black. This will be hard for many scientists around the world to accept, but as it goes, as Keshe Foundation has been leading scientific organization in corona since on start of it in January, now everything has been recorded one by one. In many ways, in many ways, these bodies has gone through what Christ did in resurrection, but through the genetic change. Many of us will go through this phase. Many of people around the world, through the long exposure and frequent exposure. Shut this phone, please. Rick, somebody's got the furniture moving.
Yeah, Marie.
We will see that frequent exposures to corona, repetitive exposure to corona, will peel that orange onion layer by layer. And then we most probably see that corona cannot enter that zone because it's the direct connection between RNA and DNA. And in so many ways, it brings back a very, very harsh point raised by Trump a few weeks ago. More blacks are dying than the whites because the blacks have already lost all the layers. They're already at the origin. And the virus comes to take the dimension of the soul of the man. In so many ways, what those who we call black transfer to the plasma of the soul as they have no layers on them to lose. This is why more of them die, because there has been no exchanges and evolution in their race. Now, pieces of the puzzles and pieces of knowledge is coming together, and then it sends us in one direction. We are one race. And what's on the screen is physical confirmation. And in so many ways, would any of you who carry yellow, white, blue eyes, brown eyes, green eyes, yellow skin, white skin, or whatever, stand and call yourself separate, when in essence, you all are black? I'm sure those who are kept alive in hospitals in the different part of the world and of the younger age, as they go through the transformation, this will become a normal news. But this is another way, what I call post-corona, what we started last week. Opening to understand and understanding the totality of the what is about to come to mankind. If you are white and you could not stand the black next door or on the bus, and you made the separation between them in the front of the bus and the back of the bus, now overnight you got to move to the back. And soon you'll find out there are no passengers in front of the bus for the white skin, or yellow, or any other shape. Oh God. In so many ways, mankind has to accept that not only financial world what he made, not only energy world he made, not only every other things he made to separate himself and make himself to be better than the others, he cannot cheat the cycle of evolution. I'm sure Billy, when he walks next time in the toilet fair in Beijing, as he did on the 16th, they will see a black Billy. And then he will wonder why I did this to myself, for me to know myself. As you know, when Billy was the head of Microsoft, he was sitting and meeting in the most elite serenes around the world with the world leaders. And now he has to go to Beijing to meet in the toilet conference, exactly where he fits in, to be able to confirm he's still around. I accept a toilet exhibition. It's exactly where he fits in. But with his greed, the fact comes that mankind, for the first time, has managed to reverse back to its origin. Those of you who have died through the physical operation of the separation of the soul and the soul of man are with us. And you are witness to what the physical man will go through. But don't forget, you need to go through the incubator of the plasma fields and the transition time to be able to go through this modification. What will be interesting is what shall mankind do when this planet gets saturated with corona and we all change. And what and to what extent will this reversal go in the physical dimension? Do we go back to the time when we lived as mammals with dinosaurs? Or do we go back further in that? The process of reversal, the conversion has started. Mankind has left with no choice. Take the dimension of the soul, or in some cases like these two doctors, take the roots of the evolution. We see with the new reports further confirmation of death in the younger age with a heart attack, which comes from calcification of the blood cells. And they say they have seen the structure of the blood they've never seen before, because up to now, as we announced weeks ago, the calcification of the cells has not been understood by the doctors yet, by the world of scientists. You knowledge seekers here are some of the leading groups who is understanding and are aware of what is going on. And in time, then scientists will publish papers to confirm and show what we have said. Genetic modification of corona is not horrendous, but it's so realistic. What will be interesting to watch with people who change in a physical structure, would they change in comprehension of mental structure? Would these brains still carry the knowledge, but understanding the simplicity of life the way it was in Africa? To what extent has modification gone is a puzzle for the world of science. Natural selection, gene modification, from Chinese to black, not only by color, but by the feature too. This is what literally the world of science has to understand. Everything, even the color, shape, features, and with the mentality has changed as well. Has mankind woken up from a coma of some billions of years? Or can we take the evolution of these physical bodies and, in a way, through their memory, understand how the mankind traveled the passage of time through Africa into Asia and other parts? Is the modification only on the physical structure, or we can follow it to the memory? Then would they tell us what happened to humanity in the passage from Central Africa into the rest of the world? Don't forget, our brain carries the totality of the memories of the life of the man from inception, of mankind, not the inception of his own life.